You're listening to the Hamptons to Hollywood podcast, made possible by our friends at Hamptons Ham Poured. Summer is almost here, and there's no place we'd rather be than the Hamptons. Everything from the relaxed vibe to the sweet coastal air just exudes relaxation and fun. If a Hamptons trip isn't in the cards for you this summer, don't worry, we've got you covered. Not only can you see what's happening in the Hamptons on hamptonstohollywood.com, but you can also bring that sweet coastal sea air right to your own living room with a candle from Hamptons Ham Poured. Made locally in East Hampton, there's a scent for each of your favorite villages. The amazing smells will make you feel like you're summering in the Hamptons, even if you happen to be in Hollywood, Houston, or somewhere in between. And for all Hamptons to Hollywood podcast listeners, we're giving you $5 off every candle found at hamptonstohollywood.com. Go to hamptonstohollywood.com/shop, pick your favorite scent, and use discount code CANDLE5 at checkout. hamptonstohollywood.com/shop, pick your favorite candle, and use code CANDLE5 to get $5 off. Welcome back to the official Hamptons to Hollywood podcast. In case you forgot, I'm your host, Kyle Langan, founder of hamptonstohollywood.com, and today my guest is fellow blogger and entrepreneur Brielle Galekovic, founder of thegildedbellini.com. Brielle and I both moved from New York to LA and have made a ton of observations about dating culture, specifically from the Hamptons to Hollywood. We talked about dating etiquette, sex, relationship faux pas, and more. It may have been my favorite episode to date, no pun intended, because we really just went there. Okay, so without further ado, here's Brielle. Doesn't that sound good? Oh, I just had to. Okay.
It's disgusting.
You and I have something in common in that we both come from the East Coast. New Jersey, New York area.
Represent.
And now we live in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very Hamptons to Hollywood kind of situation.
It's very on brand with your brand.
It is, east to west, where we're talking about dating etiquette. Do you have a preference of which coast you like best? Let's just start there.
Oh, it's so hard because I love both. Like, my ideal life is me truly being bi-coastal. But in terms of the way people are, I think it's East Coast. I think that everything from the way you treat other people to how efficient you are to how you present yourself and take your appearance seriously. Here, you know, you dress down versus like there,
right.
It's like you look like an idiot if you wear just jeans and a tank top on a Friday night.
I'm wearing sweatpants.
I know. When you go to a bar in the East Coast, and you're a girl, you're ready to go buy yourself a drink. The guy next to you, 9 times out of 10, will strike up a conversation or say, "You're really pretty, can I buy you a drink?" Like, I used to go out in New York knowing, like, I don't care, I'm going to go to a bar because I'm not going to have to buy anything. And, like, this is me being, 19, 20 years old, so please no one think anything bad of me. Like, this is just me going out as a kid.
Right.
But the principle is still there. It's that a guy will be brave enough to, and courteous enough to say, "Let me buy you a drink," to start up a conversation. Versus here, okay, you could be at a bar by yourself. I'm sitting there waiting 10 minutes for this bartender to pay attention to me. This guy is next to me. This happened multiple times. Doesn't do anything, doesn't strike up a conversation, doesn't say, "Let me buy you a drink," or like, "What are you drinking?" Not even like trying to buy me a drink. Just say like, "Oh, what are you drinking?" "Oh, cool." Like, "Oh, so where do you live?" Like, nothing. So
people more friendly on the East Coast.
Yes, I think so. Versus here, everybody's kind of like tunnel vision, and that crosses over to etiquette because it comes down to like, meeting people, being nice.
I definitely have had a lot of like fearlessness. I mean, I think I am still pretty brazen. I carried that with me when I moved to LA, and I think it wasn't off-putting to people, but they were like, "Oh my God, you try to sneak into the Golden Globes?" Like, I would never, or like just random things, like, or you make friends, like you'll literally talk to anything that is breathing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that part of that is innate, but I also think that part of it is probably maybe being raised on the East Coast.
I agree, and this is just a side note.
Silence your cell phones, Kyle.
That's number one etiquette for podcasting, okay? So let's just throw that out there. That's not ironic. This is a total East Coast, West Coast attitude type thing, but you doing that and having that attitude can come off to people as like you're too much. Like, oh my God, like
it's so true.
You're intimidating because you like, you don't care. Like,
right. I would rather be like scare people with like my like enthusiasm than go home that night and be like, oh, I wish I would have talked to that person.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of nice being feared. I have a lot of pickles with dating, if you haven't noticed. Also, people, don't take this the wrong way. This is just like things that have happened in the past, and I'm bringing them to the forefront so we can chat about them.
Right.
Your thoughts, right? Okay, so a guy takes you out on a date, or you stay out late, and, it's time to go home. You get into an Uber, cab, whatever it is. Does he pay for it?
No.
No. Okay.
Do you think he would? He should?
It's happened to me before.
He has paid, or he?
Yes. If you're staying at the other person's house, or you're...
I would always invite, just stay here.
Right, but if you don't want to...
Right.
I mean, it's not their responsibility to do it. However, like, here it's so different. Like, it's every man for himself. Like, I've talked to my friends about it, and they're like, your expectations for, blah, 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 blah are too high. And I say, I don't really think so, because this is the way it is at home. It's like there's not very many ways to have etiquette or court someone now these days, and it's just like these little ways.
The little things.
You can't expect it, but you realize that after it happens, you're like, oh, I remember that one time, like, that guy did that. Like, why didn't this guy do that?
Right. I agree with you in that I think that you can't expect it, but when it happens, it's a really nice way to show affection.
I agree.
But I think it's incredibly rare for that to happen.
It's very rare. Also, like...
At least here.
Yes. Also, I just feel like, nobody likes to say how they really feel.
Right.
Okay? And it's like these little things to like, show the other person that you care about them. It doesn't make up for, saying like how you really feel. But it's like it's just a gesture.
So on the flip side, like, what would like a gesture be for like a girl to show to a guy?
That's a good question. It's hard because I feel like I've struggled with this in the past, and like I'm not like a warm and fuzzy person. Like I can't. That's just never been me. So it's always kind of difficult for me to like show that I appreciate someone. Mm-hmm. You can always like buy around at like a bar, okay? Like if you're out or whatever, that's something. I mean, does compliments count?
I mean, yeah.
A light compliment?
Why not a heavy one?
I don't know. I'm not one to like do that.
Like, what do you mean like a light compliment? Like you look nice, or like I like your shirt or something.
Yeah, or like you look good.
I just feel like, for me, having always being the person that is like doing the pursuing, it's nice to just get some kind of like affirmation, like, oh, I'm on the right track.
I agree. However, question. Okay, let's say you're pursuing. How do you... it's just weird. Like, if you're in this like middle ground purgatory where you're both not saying anything.
It's like the worst place in the world.
It's literally the worst thing. No.
So you mean like how do you express yourself when you're in that way?
Yeah, because then you don't want to like do something and they're like, oh my god, ew, like that was like way too much. But at the same time, it's like they're, saying, oh, let's hang out, like let's do this. Like you're throwing mixed signals. Do you feel like if you say you like someone first, do you feel like you lost the power?
No, I have been in that position. I feel like I'm always in that position.
Really?
But I don't really regret it, because if it's how I feel, then that's how I feel, and I can't like be ashamed of it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because I'm just being honest. So again, I would always be the person that like wants to express myself rather than not doing it, because I hate playing games so much. I'm so bad at it. No, but you're good at it.
You think I'm good at it?
Yes. Today, I learned that you have game.
Thank you.
When you were trying to seduce me earlier.
Thank you. Oh, yes, of course. Well,
no, but I think that I just was like, okay, well, I like you, so just FYI.
No, I get it. And that's part of our East Coast culture. Like, I just want to, like, I don't like not knowing. Like, tell me what we're doing. Or, like, don't tell me. Like, let's just talk about what we're going to be doing on this day. It's just so irritating.
How far in advance do you think? Let's talk about this like purgatory stage of like, dating.
I
So
love
how far?
I hate the purgatory stage.
Right. So how far in advance do you think it's appropriate to make plans with someone without seeming too like needy?
It's like you can play the game where you're like, okay, it's Thursday, like let me text and like, oh, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. It's just like at that point you already want to know your plans. Right. And I've always told myself, because I used to do this, I like make a mental like little space just in case I hang out with, fill in the blank name. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's not okay. Like, why am I making space for someone that I don't even know is doing the same exact thing for me? I think you could do like a Wednesday moment, like see what's happening.
So for the weekend, you mean?
For the weekend, yeah. Like, don't hit me up on Friday. Oh, what are you doing this weekend?
What, Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday's okay, but it's just like so annoying because it's like, ugh, I already want to know what I'm doing. Thursday is the safe day. Thursday is like, okay, we made it through the week, and now it's like, okay, it's the weekend's coming. I want to see what you're up to. Like, maybe let's make plans. But in, my mind, being a planner, I want to know what I'm doing already. I'm very, very busy. Like, if we're going to go and get drinks or something, like, just tell me in advance so I can, like, put you in the sketch.
Right.
And vice versa. I'm sure you're very busy, too.
Right.
Just schedule it. Like, we're adults.
Don't you think, like, my frame of mind is that, like, I'm just going to tell you what I want to do, how I feel about you, and then if you can't hang, then I know sooner.
I like that, and yes, I agree with you. Here's what I think. You either are committed to the possibility of something happening further, or it not working out, but you're still committed to, like, getting to know each other and continuing to see each other and whatever, or you commit to not, and it's over. Commit to one or the other. Don't do this like in the middle thing. We're going on dates, but they're still talking to somebody else, or hold on, yeah, I want to be exclusive, or like I want to see you more, blah blah. All of a sudden, overnight something changes, and like, yeah, never mind, I didn't want to be serious. Don't do that, because I'm over that. OVER, cheerleader, over it. We've been done with that for many years now. Tell me whether you like me or not. When is it appropriate to have a convo with the other person and be like, okay, great, so we've been doing this for like 3 months, like what's your deal?
3 years in my case.
3 years. Because anyway, answer the question.
I think as soon as you feel something, once you realize like, okay, I could see myself like dating this person.
But aren't you nervous?
No.
What the other person's going to say?
No. Because I just want to know more than... I want to know for myself more than my paranoia about how someone else feels. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's selfish.
No, it's not. It's good because you know who you are and you know what you like. You know your value. You know what you bring to the table. You know what you bring to a relationship. If, like, you don't want that, then great.
Yeah, but I also think that, like, comes with, like, age, too.
100%. I did not have this attitude when I was 22. No. And I don't have the extent of your attitude at almost 27.
Yeah.
Like, I... still get nervous. Like, for the most part, I'm a confident person when it comes to dating.
I remember I was dating someone, and
Tell us the name. I'm just kidding.
And he said, I was making a joke. I was over it, and he was like, I was talking to my mom earlier. I was like, did you tell her about me? Like, kind of joking, but also kind of wanting to see
love
her
it, love it, love it.
And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So if that's kind of a good gauge, if someone like tells
their mom,
their friend or someone about you, like that's a good gauge that maybe they feel something because, and then maybe a week, I don't know, or a short time after, he was like, I like you, and I feel like I could really like you like a lot more. Which was kind of like that sticks with me.
That's really nice.
Because it means really nice. He's invested, mm-hmm. but I also think like that he also could see the potential for more. So it's like, I think that's kind of like a great thing to say.
Do you feel like, just as, different people come into your life, do you feel like you're the one who's initiating the conversation or it's them? Like, in terms of like, like what he said to you, like, is that mostly you or is that mostly the other person?
I think it's me, like putting feelers out, because I'm all just like naturally curious, so I always just want to know things. Mm-hmm. But if I am like really, if it's like a sure thing and I know how I feel, then I don't need anybody else's like validation for it.
I feel like I'm always the one to bring it up. I just want to know what the deal is. I feel like guys are happy with like kind of cruising until they're not, and that's not really fair. Not saying that I would jump into a relationship tomorrow,
right?
But again, I just want to know, like, do you like me enough that you want to continue getting to know me and like have fun together and like see what happens, or are you just trying to like screw around?
I think you just need to date older people.
How old do you usually date, and what's your cap?
Age is just a number, Brielle. No, I don't really. I wouldn't probably date someone who was like 25.
Oh no.
But not that 25 is a bad age. It's just you're not thinking about settling down.
No. I always go back and forth because I'm like, okay, they're going to be more mature, but at the same time, like, you can't exactly like grow with that person because they've been through like what you're going through like already, like,
because then it's kind of, I feel like it's more of a mentor relationship, and then they're kind of saying to you like, this is what you should do, and this is what I advise. And it's like,
yes.
Well, we have different lives, so I don't like when people tell me what to do.
Okay,
clearly.
Well, how do you feel? I'm almost 27. Can I be with like a 35-year-old?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
All right, I was just asking. Yeah,
I think, but it's just so dependent on the person.
I know.
We're living longer, so like the 35-year-old is like the new like 29-year-old. I think if you live in like a metropolitan area, like you might not be married.
Oh, 100%.
Where it's like if you live in maybe a more rural area, you probably have been married for 10 years.
Right. Yeah, if you're here in LA or you're in New York, like you're 35, like
you just got an apartment by yourself, basically.
You just did.
Yeah.
And
you still can't afford it.
Still paying off loans, student loans, but it's fine.
Don't worry, we'll be right back. Summer is almost here, and there's no place we'd rather be than the Hamptons. Everything from the relaxed vibe to the sweet coastal air just exudes relaxation and fun. If a Hamptons trip isn't in the cards for you this summer, don't worry, we've got you covered. Not only can you see what's happening in the Hamptons on hamptonstohollywood.com, but you can also bring that sweet coastal sea air right to your own living room with a candle from Hamptons Ham Poured. Made locally in East Hampton, there's a scent for each of your favorite villages. The amazing smells will make you feel like you're summering in the Hamptons, even if you happen to be in Hollywood, Houston, or somewhere in between. And for all Hamptons to Hollywood podcast listeners, we're giving you $5 off every candle found at hamptonstohollywood.com. Go to hamptonstohollywood.com/shop, pick your favorite scent, and use discount code CANDLE5 at checkout. hamptonstohollywood.com/shop, pick your favorite candle, and use code CANDLE5 to get $5 off. When do you think it's too early to have sex with someone? Or is that dependent on the person too?
It's dependent on the person, I think, because I know so many people that like have had sex with their boyfriends like the first night and they're like in a relationship with them. I think in your adult life, I think you have to wait at least a month.
A month?
Yeah. What? Is that too long?
I feel.
What? Seriously? I don't think that's long at all.
Actually, I don't really know.
I think in the grand scheme, if you see someone once a week, ideally, I think 3 months is great, but that's not realistic anymore in life.
You sound like Charlotte.
I think 3 months is like, I think that's like what it should be.
That's fine. I did want to go back to this for a minute because I think this is fascinating about you because like your expectations for different things. Do you find yourself like getting let down a lot?
Yeah.
So do you think that means that your expectations are like that higher than normal?
Half people tell me my expectations are too high, and then half say like, no, that's what you want. I never like had this picture perfect thing. Like it's like there's very bare minimum things that I really expect.
What are your deal breakers? Like what will if you're on a first date and someone doesn't do X, what would you be like, okay, this is not getting a second date?
Okay, you need to give one compliment. It doesn't have to be a crazy one. It has to pay. I know this is like not, it's like stupid, but like I think that on the first date, like the guy should open the door for you. I also, this isn't a point, but I appreciate when the guy walks on the outside of the sidewalk. Again, I'm not saying this out of nowhere. This isn't my fairyland, Snow White, perfect world. Like these are all things that have been done
right
before.
Do you find yourself comparing things that have been done with new experiences that you have.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I think about the people, like, because I really don't. It's just more of the action.
The feeling or the action.
Yeah.
But I would argue that that is not good.
It's not good, but I can't help it. That's just who I am.
Because
how do you feel like...
Because each person is supposed to make you feel something different.
I agree, but I think this comes down to, like, manners, too.
So if the guy was, like, really funny and charming, but he didn't give you a compliment or pay, and he was really attractive.
You cannot give me a compliment, but, like, if you don't pay on the first date and you ask me out, that's weird to me. I would be like, no.
Yeah.
Because and not saying, like, you know, for the whole thing, like, the guy has to pay. No. I just think it just comes down to basic courting principles. Just really traditional. You know, after a couple weeks and you start warming up with someone, then, you know, it doesn't really matter as much. But like I said, I just feel like in the beginning,
making an impression. You
have to make a good impression. I make sure that I put my best foot forward when I'm, like, obviously I'm myself, but, like, this is your one chance to show, like, your best self to somebody.
So what do you
show
do
your manners
to show your best self?
That's a great question. I love that. Now that I think about it, I don't know.
Maybe that's the issue.
Just myself. Okay, tell me what you do, and then I'll tell you.
I just think that it's good to have standards.
Is this a therapy session?
It's turning, sexuality with Kyle.
Sexuality.
No, I just think that.
I feel like I have manners all the time. I always say thank you. I say thank you for dinner. I say thank you for, you know, making a drink.
But if a guy also values those same things, that's not going to make an impression on him.
So what's going to make an impression? Enlighten me.
You tell me.
No, I don't know. You're a guy.
I just think that you can't, if you have a lot of expectations but aren't willing to do something that is as meaningful. Maybe it's on if you put them side by side. Yours will be a little bit shorter than his.
Okay.
But but as long as they're as meaningful to him as yours are to you, that's fine, right? So I would just say, like, because otherwise it's a one-way street, and no one is going to want to date someone where they're always just giving you something. Not you, but a girl.
I agree.
So
how would you do that? Because now that I think about it, I'm like,
how do you
actually do that?
I mean, I think, I'm not saying this is right, but I think that a lot of times when this is going to sound so sexist, but I think a lot of times, like, a man's expectation is for a girl to, like, sleep with him if he does all those nice things.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Right. And I'm not saying it should, but I'm just saying, like, it's an expectation, I think.
agree.
And obviously no one has to do something they don't want to do sexually, but what is the thing that you're going to, like, bring to the table, I guess? And I don't know what that is because I'm not a girl, but I would say, like, it could be like stimulating conversation. That sounds boring. But
no, it's not. It's not boring. It's good. I also feel like genuinely wanting to know about the other person. I love to ask, like, the guy, like, about, like, his career and is that really what he wants to do? Like, what is he really passionate about? Or, like, things like that. I personally despise surface level conversation. I despise it, and I will like a guy in a second if he starts telling me, like, you know, just, like, random things, or, like, how ambitious he is, or that he has more ambition and goals on his mind than what's just now. I feel like I said, I'm not, like, an affectionate person, but I feel like I'll show a lot more to show that I'm appreciative of everything.
What do you mean?
Be, like, more touchy-feely, whatever, like, that kind of thing. And that's not, like, really me, but I mean, you make a good point. It's like these physical actions that the guy is doing. What can the girl do on the date? Genuinely, like, what can she do? Like, action-wise, I don't know. Technically, like, by tradition, it's the guy who's courting the girl. But at the same time, the girl has to, like, do something else. What does she do? That's a great question. We should ask our listeners what they do.
Yes, we should.
Now I'm going to think about this.
Because on one side, like, I'm also a big proponent for, like, equality. And, like, the gesture to, like, buy a round of drinks, like you said earlier. And even if they're like, no, it's fine, then that's on them, like, whatever. But at least, like, you had, like, the gesture to do it.
Yes.
Or I think for, like, some guys are like, okay, well, how do I make her feel like I value her as a person if I'm doing everything for her? Do you know what I mean? Because then it's kind of, like, more objectifying.
Yeah. When do you think it's okay for a girl to offer to pay at least something for the dinner? Like, oh, like let me at least get the tip.
I don't think that's a bad thing to say the first time.
I don't know. You know, let's say you offer to split it on the first date. He's going to expect that every single time. Not saying that he's got to buy, 15 dinners. That's not what I'm saying. Do I think the first 3? Yeah.
I think it's also can kind of like, it's like a test for the girl. I would feel much happier to pay without any contribution from her if I really liked her. So if the girl was like, oh, here, I can, whatever she does, like puts her credit, and he's like, no, put it away, then it's like, okay, that's a good sign. But I think that's kind of an easy way for the girl to control the situation where she's like, okay, it's basically saying like, do you want a second date? Here's my credit card.
Yes.
And if he says no, then you're going to go on a second date.
Right,
but if he says,
I think that's gentlemanlike.
well, yeah, I mean, I think that I would be happy to pay for dinner if I really like the person. Like, I don't care. It's like, who cares?
Yes.
It's like, oh, I want to do this. It's a good, like, barometer to judge, like, the trajectory of where the relationship will go.
Okay, I agree. You make a good point.
So I don't think it's bad to do it on the first date to see. Especially if she's confident and is being like, do you want those? And he's like, no.
Yeah. I like, okay.
And then I think with that confidence that she has, maybe about not paying, like, she can be more, like, comfortable going into, like, the next week, texting with him and being like, oh, okay, well.
Yes, uh-huh. One final question.
Okay.
And, this can go for girls and guys, but
right.
How forward is too straightforward? Like, is knowing what you want and being direct about it, is that a turn off for people? Why do people love the game so much that they'd rather waste their time and like play a texting game, or I'm not going to text her on this day, or I'm not going to text him and I'm going to make him miss me and this and that? I
have never had patience for it. I just know like I just know what I want too much. I don't want to like put someone else through that torture. And I also just get bored.
Yeah.
Like when I've tried to do it, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't keep this up.
I know.
What?
I get bored too.
I'm going to forget about it. Oh, sorry.
Yes?
I thought about something else.
Okay, go ahead.
This is like completely unrelated.
Okay, talk about it.
But I was talking to someone once, talking about like judging if they're into it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking solely via Snapchat.
Hate
it so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Snapchat. This podcast is sponsored by Instagram. I was like, oh, well, like, come over. Like, we had, like, planned. We went on a date, and then I was like, oh, you can, like, come over after and, like, have wine or whatever. I was like, here's my address, but, like, just text me when you get there. Like, I gave him the number.
Right.
And then he kept communicating via Snapchat.
Why?
Don't know.
Turn off.
And I was just like, well, I didn't think of anything of it. And then, like, weeks later, I was like, we were still communicating solely via Snapchat. And I was like, well, obviously you're not interested but he would text me all the time, like send me snaps all the time.
Did he have your number?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
And I brought up, I was like, well, I didn't think you were interested, like when we kind of tapered off. I was like, because you never gave me your phone number. And I asked for his Instagram too. I was like, oh, maybe like, would you have Instagram? He's like, yeah, but I don't use it.
Love that line.
Okay. Well, didn't we tell me what it is? Or no?
Right.
I mean, no, because he didn't.
So shady. Ew, I don't like that.
I don't remember what I'm texting unless I can see it.
Same.
I can't use Snapchat.
I don't remember.
I just said.
No, me neither.
Like, he'll try and pick up a conversation 2 hours later. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, do you take notes? Do you write physical notes, like what the last thing was? I hate when you're at a bar or something, you meet someone, and they're like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, like, we'll talk to you later. Like, what's your Instagram? Ask me for my number first. Don't ask me for social media first. I get so mad.
I've done that.
Come on, Kyle. You can't do that.
Because I'd have.
The last guy I met, I'm not going to give any names, he asked me for my number first.
I feel like we covered a lot.
We have covered a lot. And People will probably hate us after this too. We're just talking about life experiences, playing devil's advocate, and answering all the questions that you guys secretly have.
Thanks for tuning in. XOXO.
XOXO. Hold on, we gotta do the clink.
Oh, wait. Thanks for listening, everyone. I want to give a special thank you to Brielle for being so candid in our conversation today. The Hamptons to Hollywood podcast is all about asking questions and posing ideas that really make you think. I thought the different perspectives between men and women today were fascinating. Can't wait to see you next week for our special Mother's Day episode. Until then,